but for now, let's move away slightly from the happenings in Karnataka. Now, after a gap of 19 days, fuel prices have been increasing constantly, practically on a daily basis. In the national capital, petrol is at a 5-year high of 75.61 per litre, while diesel is at its highest ever price of 67.09 per litre. Fuel prices in other cities too have reached a multi-year high. In fact, prices are expected to continue to rise sharply as Brent crude oil has hit $80 a barrel, according to brokerage firms. And in fact, a 4 rupees per litre increase in the prices is what we could see in the offing. Let's go across to Santhya, who's joining us at this point. Santhya, we're seeing ever since we saw a 19-day gap, obviously in run-up to the Karnataka elections, and the minute that got over, we started seeing the prices being revised on a daily basis.
Yes, absolutely, Avni. And if we talk about Mumbai specifically, fuel prices are the highest, are at their peak in Mumbai. If we talk about the petrol prices, 83.49 is today's rate. And it's not just Mumbai, actually every other city, the situation is the same. In fact, we were also speaking to the petrol pump people, and they told us that how there was a gap of 19 days, there was a hiatus of 19 days. But after that, the price hike has started. Initially also before this hiatus, there used to be a price hike on a daily basis, but this time after election, it is actually too unbearable for the people as well, because this is not, as per the experts also, this is not going to stop here. The price hike is going to increase with every single day. In fact, experts are also telling us that how the companies who allegedly have faced loss because of these 19 days will now try their level best to cope up to break even. That's the thing which experts are telling us as far as the price hikes are concerned. Mumbai right now has the highest price, whether it's petrol, whether it's diesel, 83.49. It's increasing by 20 paisa, 30 paisa, 40 paisa every day. That's the situation in Mumbai, and of course it's going to disturb the monthly budget of common people.
All right, Santhya, stay with us. Let's in fact listen in to some reactions that have been coming in regarding the way the prices of fuel have been increasing.
बहुत बुरा हाल है। जहाँ मैं 2000 का डलवाता था, अब मुझे 3000 का डलवाना पड़ रहा है पेट्रोल डीजल। बहुत बुरा हाल है। अब वो पहले अपने उसको इसका क्रेडिट लेते थे मोदी जी, तो अब इसका दूसरे अब किसको देंगे, क्या बोलेंगे इसके ऊपर? कि मेरे आने से कीमतें कम हो गई, तो अब कौन वो करेगा? इसकी कीमतें कौन बढ़ा रहा है? मोदी जी खुद बढ़ा रहे हैं। जब वो कम कर रहे थे, इसका मतलब बढ़ा भी वही रहे, और एक दिन बाद बढ़ गई। अब कर्नाटक का चुनाव हुआ, कीमतें बढ़ गई।
जहाँ पेट्रोल हम 200 डलवाते थे, 150 में काम चला रहे हैं, 100 में काम चला रहे हैं। मतलब इतनी बुरी हालत हो चुकी है यहाँ पर। बहुत मतलब पहले से बहुत ज़्यादा असर है।
Santhya, of course, we just heard out some people and how they're reacting to these increase in prices. You've also been talking to people. What is the view? Because this kind of increase is definitely going to hurt the wallets of people. All right, Santhya,
Yes,
I'm going to ask you to just interrupt you. We're being joined, in fact, by Narendra Taneja of the BJP on the phone line. Mr. Taneja, you know, we saw a gap of 19 days. Obviously, that was related to the Karnataka elections, and because of which the prices were not hiked at all. But now, the extent at which we're seeing the prices being raised is definitely concerning.
Yeah, I've seen the reports, and I know the petrol and diesel prices have gone up, but that's more the reflection of the, rise in crude oil prices worldwide since India imports heavily. But I do see the point that, right now for consumers, these prices are a little bit too high, and there needs to be some kind of intervention, whether from the companies or the central government or the state government, in order to moderate the prices a bit. My personal opinion as an energy expert, I feel that there needs to be some kind of intervention, especially when it comes to taxes, both by the center and the state governments, because the prices right now are a bit too high. And leaving apart whether, there was any intervention before the Karnataka election, the point here is that it's a bit too tight on the consumer's pocket, and something needs to be done.
Right. So, and that is exactly the question that we're asking. Why isn't something being done?
Well, I think, there are three components here. One is, of course, the price of crude oil and and the commercial side of the story, which includes companies, how they refine, how they source crude and all that. I think something needs to be done on that part as well. The companies need to be told that they need to be a little bit more efficient, and whatever the benefits they get from it, they must be passed on to the consumer. But the second and the bigger point is that some kind of political consensus cutting across the party line to work to bring petroleum products under GST, or until that is done, that both the center and the states take some initiative and they do it together in order to bring down the taxes. Because when it comes to the import price, there's nothing you can do. I mean, that's what you have to pay because you buy it from overseas sellers. But what you can do is mainly on the side of the taxes, both the central and the states. But there's some kind of consensus required. If the center just brings down excise by 1 rupee or so, that's not going to make a very significant difference. And whatever the difference it makes will be actually will evaporate within a week's time. And so there needs to be some kind of consensus, across the political lines, including parties which are ruling various states.
Right. Mr. Taneja, I mean, as far as the GST aspect is concerned, you and I both know that's not going to be something that's going to be done so easily. So even though we've been hearing this, and we've spoken about this on Mirror Now multiple times, as you're aware, multiple times we've heard that is the plan. We should bring fuel under GST, but that is not going to happen anytime soon. So I don't know why that keeps being brought up until it is actually done. That is a long-term plan, but for the short term, something needs to be done. Like you pointed out, the excise duty, the taxes are so high, but again, we're not seeing any movement, any even inclination to move on that front.
Well, you see, the excise duty was cut, as you know, last October, and the prices are now right now hovering in the region of $80 per barrel. So I think if it continues like this, then there would be, of course, pressure both from the central government and the state governments to do that, to do something about it. But there has to be a kind of solution which is a little bit more sustainable. In my personal opinion, just bringing down excise by a rupee or so would not make a difference. I think times like this is important that all political parties, they sit across the table, and all the states and centers, they sit across the table. Now, maybe not GST, but something so that there is some kind of a tweaked architecture a little bit, tax architecture, and find a solution which provides a solution. Otherwise, what happened that you tweak it by one, it makes headline and some comfort to the people maybe for 7-8 days, but then you're back to square one in no time, and the same debate starts again. Because in my opinion, crude oil prices this year are going to be in the higher region in the States between $70 to $80, and which requires some kind of work in terms of tweaking the tax architecture of the country, and that is not possible unless and until all states are on board, not under GST, but some kind of cooperation.
So Mr. Taneja, are you saying that until and unless you have across party lines people coming together and taking a decision, but we know that that can't be the solution, saying that pushing the blame, saying that until this happens we cannot do anything, but in the meantime it is the citizens who are suffering with these high prices. Is there any movement, is there any talk about taking some sort of short-term measures, at least, even though you're saying it may not it may not give relief more than a few days or weeks, but at the same time, every rupee counts?
Well, very good question, and I understand, where your question is coming from, and I'm fully with you on this question because something needs to be done immediately. But let's keep in mind, if you bring down the price of, let's say, excise by 1 rupee, that would mean the loss of 15,000 rupees to the central government. That means that, if you do by 2 rupees, then 30,000 crores gone. And then what do you do with the schemes, number of schemes you've launched, including Ujjwala for the poor people and rural electricity?
No, Mr. Taneja, you can't make that argument every time that everything cannot be linked to if this amount goes down, what happens to the schemes. We're talking about petrol, diesel, we're talking about 5-year highs, we're talking about the kind of pinch that citizens are feeling every single day, and we've seen in the last 4 days, and we have in fact brokerage reports that are saying that they're going to go up further by as much as 4 rupees.
Well, I'm doing a very reasonable, giving a reasonable answer to you. But if you have better advice on how should this be managed, then please let us know, and I will be very happy to take advice and suggestions from you or from your viewers on this side. You see, the point is that we cannot really single out only one thing. Overall inflation of essential commodities, that food you buy every day, are very low and being controlled by the government. People who were using diesel earlier, today they are getting electricity because we have taken electricity all across the country. People are using solar pumps. So we have helped them to reduce their overall cost in terms of their day-to-day economy of households and their farming and their small businesses. So they may not be getting benefit at the petrol pump, but they're getting a lot of benefits because of these policies, in other areas. So overall, the consumers are actually satisfied. Why don't, if you go to the consumer and ask the question, they will say what they're telling you. But we also go to the consumers. We are also asking them. We know their pain. We understand. So this is an imported commodity. Let's not forget 83% of crude is imported. Something which is imported. And there is this architecture which is in place for the last 70 years. You want it to be, we want to rework it. But the only solution is GST, but that people don't want to talk. The question is that there are no shortcut solutions. Unfortunately, we have to conserve. We have to use petrol, diesel only we need to. But of course,
no, Mr. Taneja, just coming back to the GST, of course we want to talk about GST, but is that going to happen?
Well, I think, channels like you should put pressure on opposition party instead of calling it Gabbar Singh tax. First you come, agree with it, sign it, and then you go out of the GST council and call it Gabbar Singh tax. So what kind of politics is this? So there has to be pressure on these people. Why are you calling Gabbar Singh? You were the one who initiated it. You were the one who signed in GST council. Now why are you calling it Gabbar Singh? Why don't you question them? Question them. And tell them, put pressure on them. We are ready to bring it under GST this evening. We are ready. We have amended the constitution accordingly. So you have to identify the people who are creating hurdles, playing politics just because they want to return to power, using petrol and diesel prices. And, so point is that you should ask these questions. Why did you initiate it? Why did you sign GST? They did it.
Right.
So
Mr. Taneja, on our part, we can assure you that this is something that we are going to continue to keep bringing up as we have done so multiple times, and we will continue to do that. So that is something I'm assuring you of. But in the meantime, you said that there's something does need to be done, even in the short term on an immediate basis. Can you tell us what can be done and what is being looked at this point?
You see, the point is that the government is very worried about, the inconvenience that is causing the, increase in petrol and diesel prices. Government is seized with the matter. Government is very worried about it, and the government is thinking about it 24/7. And and we are at the same time monitoring the international crude prices. Our assessment is the prices probably would start, cooling down soon. But if that does happen, the government will revisit the whole issue and try to do something so that the burden that is there on the pocket of the ordinary person is something is done about it by both the central and the state governments. We are very much on this matter, and we are let me share one thing with you. The government is also equally worried, like you are, like all others are worried about the pain is actually causing on the pocket of the ordinary consumer.
All right, we'll leave it. Thank you very much, Mr. Taneja, for taking the time and talking to us. We hope that there is some relief that is provided as far as fuel prices are concerned. I'm also being joined on the phone line by Ravi Shinde of the Petrol Dealers Association. Thank you very much, Mr. Shinde, for joining us. If you can first help us, tell us what is your response to the way we've been seeing fuel prices rise? All right, we've seemed to have lost Ravi Shinde, but let's go back to Santya, who's still with us. Santya, sorry to have interrupted you earlier. Go ahead. What is the kind of response that you've been getting across the board as far as these rising prices are concerned, and also the fact that the prices are only going to continue to rise?
Yes, of course, Avni, if we talk about the response, of course, people are panicking because if we talk about prices, how I was mentioning that 83.49 is the petrol price and 71.46 is the diesel price in Mumbai. And the reason people are panicking because they know it for a fact, they are watching this in TV, they are reading it in newspaper, that how the experts are telling them that the prices are going to increase, and of course it's already burning a hole in the wallet of the common man. But the reason they are panicking because there is no relief as of now. In fact, they are not even sure whether at this stage whether it's going to get stable or not. All they can hear and read is that how it's going to increase. So that's the reason, and that is that one thing which is bothering not just the Mumbaikars but every Indian as of now. But the problem in this city is that how Mumbai has the highest diesel and petrol price as compared to the rest of the country. So that is their problem, that anyway the fuel was expensive in this city, and now this daily increase has made their situation worse. When there was a 19-day hiatus, they were still relieved, but they did not, of course, know. We did not know that how it's going to increase. This is going to increase with every single day. And initially, also before that period, it used to increase, but the amount was not that significant. But today, if we talk about on a daily basis, since last 4 days, it is increasing with a significant amount every time. So, of course, Mumbaikars are worried, as are the rest of the Indians. Avni.
All right. Thanks, Antia, for getting us all those details.